Hey, welcome back to Mirror Expressions, you all, a channel where I take the time to share a little bit of myself with you, and I invite y'all to come on in and do the same with me. Go ahead, hit the thumbs up button. I'm going to wait a quick moment. Thank you. Hit subscribe also if you haven't. And as always, let your girl know how you are doing. If you have looked in the mirror today, baby, you are fabulous and I'm loving you. And you feel what you see looking back at you, go ahead and drop me a mirror emoji in the chat because I want to know my YouTube family is good. And if not, as always, I'm going to encourage you to do what you must to get back to a healthier version of yourself. Because listen, if you're not going to do it, who's going to do it? So go ahead and do that. Also, I think that's about it. That's all the housekeeping I got right now. Let's just go ahead and get right into it, y'all. We are reviewing and recapping Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 12, Getting to the Crust. Okay. This episode was I ain't get really into it to the end, like with Kirsten and Shaquille, because we waiting to see what's gonna go down with them two anyways. But yeah, it was an okay episode. It was better than last week, I will say that. So it's 24 days until decision day, right? Chris, Nicole, and her dad, they're doing yoga with the goats. Like, I really don't know the whole point of the goats being there. Like, I've always wondered, like, when you have yogas with the goats, like, why? What's the point of the goats being there? Like, and I've kind of always wondered that when it just kind of blew up, like a few years ago, that whole yoga with the ghost thing just kind of took off. You know what I'm saying? Like overnight. So if you know something I don't know, go ahead and drop it in the comments, because like, enlighten me, baby, because I really don't know. And I'm not trying to be funny. Like, I'm really serious. Like, what is it? Like, what's the point of it? But anyway, the yoga is something that Nicole and her dad would do together. So she figured that doing it together and added Chris in the mix, that would help her dad to be more supportive of them. So Chris asked her dad, how is Nicole growing up and how has she changed over the years, right? So her dad talked about how he and Nicole's mom had divorced when she was young. I don't really remember the age, but she was young. I think he said maybe like 4 or 5 or something like that. And so he said, like, for a while things were fine because nobody really knew that they were divorced, because they would still do everything together. Like, they tried to make Nicole's life as normal as possible versus just going ahead and creating that new norm. Like, you're gonna have separate houses, da da da. But he said that, like, once she became old enough to understand what was going on, like when she became a teenager, she didn't really want to deal with him that much. Like, she would go to his house, have to sleep on a couch. She didn't have her own room, so she would have an attitude and would talk back to him. And so he was just saying, but he looks at her now and she has just grown as a person, right? He said right now is the biggest change he has ever seen in Nicole. So she asked her dad if he's ever seen her this happy. And he said, not so much as happy as you're content right now. And you have not been so content in life that this is what makes you happy. And for me, when he said that, I liked how he worded it. Like, it's not just about happy, like, you're content. And so with that, happiness can grow. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But anyway, he said that he is cautiously optimistic. So I feel like he's kind of coming around, because in his confessional, when he talked about Nicole and Chris, he likes to use these air quotes when he says husband and son-in-law. And he said as time goes on, the quotes will go away. But then he turns around, he tells Chris that he can now call him dad. Like, he does not have to wait until decision day. to call him dad, that he has earned his respect. I said, that daddy coming around. He is liking Chris. So I think yeah, the Chris is it's definitely growing on him. I was just like, oh. And can I just insert how pretty Nicole is? Like, she just had that natural face, like not a lot of makeup, if any at all. And she was just simply glowing in that scene. I don't know if I was the only person that noticed it or not, but she was. And y'all, I'm repping Michigan today, you know. Anyway, I just noticed my shirt. But yeah, she was absolutely glowing. So Dr. Pepper is meeting with the couples, right? Kirsten and Shaquille, they're getting ready. She's baking cookies. Um, they're talking about what to expect, what they're going to discuss, what they think she's going to ask, you know. So Kirsten says that she wishes Dr. Pepper had been there during last week's episode when they were on that couch having their disagreement, you know, after the couples dinner or whatever. So Kirsten does a personal cam talking about, yeah, we need someone to come in and help and mediate. I said, girl. I was saying that because I just don't know how receptive she will be to all of that. Like, would she be receptive to that? Meaning, is she going to change? Is she going to start to open up? Because remember, they've already had Pastor Cal come and pretty much say the same thing. And Kirsten still has not opened up to us, dear. And she's still being closed off with Shaquille, too, you know. So, anyway, y'all, she done baked them darn cookies. I said, Kirsten really wants to be that Stepford housewife. That's what I'm getting. It's all about the image. I just noticed, like, whenever they host, like when they had their family and friends come over for the housewarming, like she loves that kind of thing. Like, I think that's what she likes. That's her image of what marriage looks like to her. You know, like being this perfect little housewife, doing the baking, the cooking, and looking good all the time. Like, that's not reality, honey. So anyway, yeah, all about the image. So Kirsten tells her that tells Dr. P that they are having problems with communicating. So Dr. Pepper said, I have 2 points. One, make no assumptions. And two, do unto others as they would have done unto themselves. I'm tickled because she done remixed the whole Bible verse. But I get what she's saying. Absolutely. Like, it kind of comes back to like love language. You have to know what speaks to somebody. What speaks to you is not necessarily going to speak to the next person. You know what I'm saying? I might like getting roses and just little thoughtful cards left around the house. That's my thing. It might speak to me and say, oh, I'm loving you. Whereas the next person might like doing little things like taking the trash out, taking the time to wash the dishes, or going to get the car gassed up or something. That might speak to the next person to say, oh, I'm really loving on you. You know, everything speaks differently. So that's basically all she's saying. It's about understanding what your partner needs and what makes them feel understood and taken care of. So Dr. Pepper says she wants to talk to them about being more open with one another. Right. So she asked Kirsten, was there anything that has affected her? And she said when her parents split up, it was shameful for her, you know. She said she would sweep her feelings under the rug and not share with others. And so Dr. Pepper said that marriage is about trusting the other person to take care of you. So then she asks Shaquille pretty much the same thing. And so he spoke about how his mom worked so much to provide for them, but that he wanted her presence more. Like, she provided so that they can have a good quality of life, but he always wanted so much more from her, like her time and her presence, right? And so he wanted that perfect family image. And then it wasn't until he was 17 that he actually met his dad. And so again, he had shame with that, and he was also angry because he was like, "Look, Negro, where you been for the past 17 years?" Like, but he said he eventually got to a place where he was able to forgive him, and he decided to move their relationship forward. So he said that he does have to he that well with that situation he had to learn how to forgive himself because he realized that he was putting his expectations onto them, and at the time he didn't think about that or understand that that's what he was really doing. And I think we all kind of do that. And so because that's like one of the things I've had to learn too, or that I'll say that I'm still learning, is not to put my expectations on the others, because then that's how you get disappointed too, when they're not living up to the expectations you put on them, and sometimes we do that unconsciously. And so that's what I'm kind of trying to get of, like unconsciously putting those expectations on others. So Dr. Pepper then asked them, has their chemistry and intimacy increased, right? So, they both gonna look at each other, and it was like this dramatic pause, because y'all know ain't nothing going down. So Skip finally said that they have been doing better. They've been doing better. So he gives this example of like how she didn't want him to kiss her. She didn't want him to kiss her at first, and how he waited, and then how he started giving her the forehead kisses. But then, like, he missed one day, and she ended up texting him talking about she needs those kisses. So I said, she is keeping him on the string. She is dangling that carrot. Like, she likes how he treats her, but she doesn't like him per se. So to me, now this, of course, all of my opinions, not necessarily factual, but she's using him. Like, she's using him. She is getting what she wants out of the situation without giving him what he wants or meeting some of his needs. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, she's an emotional pimp. So, that's just how I see it. And this is the thing, like, I don't think she even realizes that she's doing that, but she's definitely like covering and masking who she really is, and her true feelings in that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just see that, like, even when they go talk to the experts, she has such nervous energy, and I feel like it's because she's afraid they're going to dig deeper into who she really is, and she's going to have to put that out or confront it or whatever. So, yeah. Cause she had nervous energy when this episode, when they met with Dr. Pepper, and even when they met with Pastor Cal, she had this same kind of nervous energy going. I noticed that. But anyway, it's all just part of a facade. Like, she's trying to create their perfect stepful wife. Like she just said, like, this just came to me, how she said she liked to sweep stuff under the rug. I think that's her. She likes to sweep stuff under the rug, but dress it up all nice and pretty. She got a lot of stuff on the inside that ain't looking too pretty, but she doesn't want anybody to know, even the experts, So she paints this pretty picture on the outside. She's learned how to keep it all together and composed, and that's years of her doing it. That's why I said I don't even think she's realizing that she's doing it, but she is. You know what I'm saying? So, But anyway, Dr. Pepper was like, "Look, that forehead is cute and all, but where's the real it? Where the real deal at?" Yeah, I know that ain't how she said it, but that's basically what she said. So anyway, she asked Kirsten, is that too much to ask for them to be doing some real kissing, right? So surprisingly, Kirsten she said she was open to it. She said she needs those kisses. I'm sorry. She said she was open to that happening, right? So Dr. Pepper also tells Shaquille that drawing back from her when she says she needs those kisses will make her feel like she's being rejected, or like he still reacting to when she didn't want him to kiss her. So Dr. Pepper said, told Shaquille those things, and I was pretty much like, nah, Dr. Pepper, I don't know if I'm rocking with you on this. Like, I agree, it is probably making her feel rejected. But in that same breath, like, what about Shaquille's feelings? Like, you don't think he was feeling rejected when she was holding back and saying no, and then kept changing the reasons why she didn't want him to kiss her? Like, what about him feeling like he's being played with or toyed around, like he's being yo-yo? So yeah, that's why I say I don't know if I'm rocking with you on that with Dr. Pepper. So she told that man he has to put away all those feelings and give her his masculine, desirous self, y'all. I said, now she's slick trying to call him out. Dr. Pepper, I picked you, girl. You had to do my boy Shaquille like this. You did. I said, oh my goodness, Dr. P. Dr. P. So Shaquille, baby, he was not looking too thrilled when she said that either. He was very dry when he said, okay, I know what I have to do. I know what I have to do to fix the problem. Baby, I said, oh, if looks could kill. So, anyway, we see Clint. He's talking with his friend David through FaceTime or whatever. So, they're catching up on the marriage of it all, right? And so, he said that they're growing, but they're lacking getting to know, but he, getting to know her inner self. Like, he's so stuck on this inner self. So he said he's doing that. He's opening up, but there's no reciprocity on her end. So he said it's a challenge trying to pull her onion layers back. He joked about having a keg party and then start asking questions like, who are you? What are you? What's your deepest passions or whatever? Like, dude, no. Getting her drunk ain't the answer. That is not the fix, boo-boo. So anyway, this scene wasn't really about too much. But so next thing we see Eris and Jasmine, right? They're chatting about their upcoming visit with Dr. P. He said he's interested in seeing her take on things because women solve a lot of the problems in the world anyway. Ha ha ha. They did have a little laugh about it. But anyway, Jasmine in her confessional said that she is super excited to see her so she can lay it all out for her. Right. I think at this point, Jasmine is kind of just like over it, or I don't know, like at her wit's end, grasping at straws. Baby, she said, I just want to let it all out. And y'all, when she did get up in there, she just immediately started talking to. But anyway, so Dr. P wants to know, have they been progressing in the way Dr. P said that they had been progressing in the way that they would hope, right? So she says, what would help you all connect? So like I said, Jasmine just kind of went and had diarrhea at the mouth there. I said, I don't think I ever seen Jasmine talk this much. So Jasmine says she says she wants deeper conversation. She's not getting that from him. She gives the example of the attraction game and how that hurt her feelings. And she said that they're pretty much stagnant because she's wanting him to take the lead, but she sees she's going to have to initiate that so that she can get the emotional connection she needs from him and vice versa. And that at one point it was just like she felt, should she say something? And she got to the point and thought, it's not going to do anything even if I do. So Dr. P tells her to share something now that will help him know you better, right? So she brings up how, she works with young ladies and her goal is teaching them how to be true to themselves and speak up for themselves and not let things go by the wayside, right? But she said she hasn't been doing that herself in this relationship. She says yeah, she's not basically living up to the words or the things that she's teaching others. Like, she's not walking what she's talking, basically. So she brings up how when she was about 9, she went from, they end up moving, right? So she went from sorry y'all. So they moved and she went from being in a place where she knew everybody, was comfortable, she had friends, to a place where she felt like she didn't fit in anymore. So she admits to having low self-esteem. And I think I told y'all, I said because I feel like I've mentioned that a few times now, that I felt like she struggled with it. You know what I'm saying? And so she said moving back to Nashville, though, has helped her find herself. She found the love for herself. It took her a lot to get back to the person she is. And so for her to end up in a marriage which she has longed for so long, and then her mind don't even want her. He's not desiring her. After she just got to a place where she's loving herself again, it just made her feel really lonely, like she was in a marriage by herself. I said, oh. And I can see that. I can see how that would make her feel that way. So she said she questioned if it was even worth telling him all that, like, would he even care? So Dr. Pepper said, have you thought about it might not be about you? I said, Dr. Pepper, I know that's right, because it ain't about her. It is absolutely not about her. He can take his old dusty tail behind on him and his F4 ways. Because it's really all about him, right? Oh, she did say that no, she had really thought about that it may not be about her, and so baby, Dr. P started to read that ass too. So she said, he is 39 years old. You better slick try to call him on the older side of things, Dr. Pepper. Now, don't be making fun. Look, we in that same age range. I'm kind of feeling a little offended right now. But anyway, Dr. P said he is 39 years old. It's a reason he's having trouble making a connection. And there's reason he lets things get in the way, and the lack of chemistry has nothing to do with you. So true. So she then turns to Aries and says, now, what do you think caused? It's definitely a possibility. Sorry, y'all. This phone keep going off. I don't know why they wait till I'm doing my videos to try to talk to me. But anyway, so yeah. So, Aries brings up how he's experienced some major deaths in his life. He talked about his dad, his best friend, and then one of his college friends, right? One of his good friends from college. And he said experiencing those deaths of people so close makes him be afraid to be close to people, and that's what is impacting him. And so Dr. Pepper said, did you get married to keep you from running? And he said yes. And also to see this picture of a family where the dad is doing things like cutting the grass, teaching the children how to work on cars, playing catch in the backyard. He said, like all the things he missed out on as a kid. Like Aries, I get you want to create this picture perfect life, and you and Kirsten might have been a better match because both of y'all want to pretend and just paint this pretty picture of life. But even in two-parent households, it's not always perfect. There are always things behind the scenes that you do not see, like perfection does not exist. So you can create your happiness with a person, but trying to force yourself to sit down by being married at first sight, it's not the way it is. It just is not the way to do it. So she said, well, what you want the most might scare you the most. So you're not allowing yourself to feel deeper emotional connections for fear of losing that person. Dr. Pepper told Jasmine that she has her work cut out for her. So they have a good old chuckle about that, right? So Dr. Pepper, oh, so yeah, she tells her, she got her work cut out for her. I'm just like, Dr. Pepper. Now, why she got her work cut out for her? No, Aries needs to do the work he on his own. Like, Jasmine is not his therapist. Like, he needs to do his work. She needs to do her work. And then they could come together. I don't even want to see them together because Aries still ain't no good. But anyway, I'm just speaking hypothetically. It ain't on the wife to do the work for the husband. Like, the husband has to do his own personal work. The wife has to do hers, and they can come together and do the work together as a couple. But they're not here to heal each other. I don't believe in that. So anyway, but so anyway, Jasmine did say, it was good to know some of that Aries has shared, because she said she just never knew all of it before. So Dr. Pepper said, why don't you share with him about your family life? So she said she felt sheltered growing up. Like, she said her parents made her feel like life was amazing. She never saw them argue. She said if there was any disagreements, that it was never held in front of them. They did it behind closed doors. And she feels like never witnessing them have an argument or disagreement is the reason why she is so non-confrontational, because she was never taught how to resolve issues, communicate in her relationships. So whenever those things come up for her, it's a challenge, right? So Dr. Pepper points out that although they have had two different family lifestyles, that there's still a commonality of loss and pain, right? She said we all create different kinds of defenses on the things we have dealt with, and that is so true. That's why I always say, like, you don't get to say how someone's trauma shows up for them, or what may be triggering for them. You don't get to say that because you're not that person. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, she said Jasmine's challenge is to be who she is, who she tells those girls to be, and Aries' challenge would be to open up and to try to know her more. Stop being a runner. Whew. They need to move from a place of easy and try to dig deep, baby. So Kirsten and Shaquille are talking and eating and talking. And so she brings up him helping her with the new real estate logo, right? So he was just like, yeah. So he started sketching out stuff right then and there. So she's just like, oh, I really like that. And then she asked him about building a website for her too. Can you do that? Oh yeah, I can make that happen. I really like that. So she, she's stroking his ego, telling him he's a man of many talents, yada yada yada. And then she turned around, she asked like she was gonna pay him, knowing full and darn well he was not gonna take any money from her, and she knew she wasn't gonna pay that man. No way. And of course he's just like, I'm not gonna charge you. So here she go. Well, I'll pay you back in other ways. Baby, what other ways, Kirsten? Because we all know ain't nothing going down. What you gonna do? Give him some more forehead kisses? Oh baby, instead of one, you can give me two. So in her confessional, she said that a sexy man handling his business is a turn on for her. And it is. It is. I definitely agree with you on that. But Kirsten, girl, what you got for us, girl? Because, honey. Anyway, y'all, it's 23 days until decision day, baby. So, now, this is what I don't understand, y'all. This is what I don't understand. These days are changing, but Dr. Pepper clothes are staying the same. Houseway. How is it supposedly the next day and Dr. Pepper still has on the same clothes? I noticed that with Pastor Cal too, when he kind of busy, like he did like 2 covers on one day, and the next day he did the next 3, baby. He had on that same suit. Like, whoa, child, make it make sense, y'all. Anyway, ooh. So Nicole and Chris, they are meeting with Dr. Pepper right now. Okay, it's their turn in the hot seat. So she wants to talk about building trust and being vulnerable. And so Nicole said that she has noticed that her past relationships have impacted her a lot more than she actually realized. So she says that she has problems being vulnerable because being vulnerable makes you weak, and being weak can get you taken advantage of, right? So she keeps this guard up and do things like not cry in front of someone because, again, it's a sign of weakness. So yeah, she doesn't feel that with Chris though, she says. So she is feeling safer, so to speak. So she says she's also realized that she would push guys away that treated her with respect because she was not used to being treated that way. Like she was used to being treated disrespectfully. So those are the type of guys that she would lean more towards when it came to relationships. Like, I guess she was saying, like, if a guy wasn't being respectful and all that, maybe she was feeling like she wasn't deserving of that. And so she would lean more towards guys that wouldn't treat her so good, And I said, oh, I feel so sad for her because she said she got into like this vicious cycle of that. Like, it was like that for, I think she said, the past 15 years of her life, And so I was like, oh. So Dr. Pepper said that, that's a long time to be in that, like not getting what you need, like being stuck in that pattern, And so she said to her that being vulnerable for her is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. So Chris said he will always show vulnerability and not put up walls and stay true to himself no matter what. And so he said with that, some women took that as him coming on too strong. Chris, I don't see anyone taking it taking it as coming on too strong, baby. But anyway, so he says he's glad to have been matched with Nicole, and he thanks them for giving him his wife. So Dr. Pepper just said she wants them to keep building a stronger foundation so that when problems arise, they can get through to it on the other side, right? So the couples all get the little fishbowl assignment, where they have questions in this bowl. They pull them out, they ask them, and they answer them, right? Clint, here's your Q&A. So, Shaquille and Kirsten are going first, right? So he asked her, what would keep you feeling safe and secure in our marriage and why, right? So Kirsten said that, you can always take the lead. And then she proceeds to just repeat the question. You can always take the lead. That will make me feel safe and secure in this marriage. Like I said last week, said a whole lot of nothing. And never mind the fact that she never really responded to the question, especially the why part. Oh, well. Shaquille just answered. He was just like, I got you, but don't you be pissed off when I do. I said, okay. That's what she said too. Okay. We both like, okay, let's see it. Let's see. I wanna see that old Shaquille get a little assertive, I should say. Let me see that, Shaquille. Let me see what that looks like. So anyway, Eris asked Jasmine the same question. So she said, I can't think of anything. Next question. The thing I want you to know about my upbringing is, Jasmine said, I feel like we've already tackled that. Next question. The thing I wanted to wait to tell you until we've been together longer is, she said, I haven't not told you anything, so. Next question. The hardest thing I had to forgive. You go first. I'm still thinking. Now, Jesse, come on there. Come on there. I said, I don't know if she is checking out, but y'all just met with Dr. Pepper about opening up and being vulnerable. Girl, I don't see you trying it at this point. Like, are you still there? I think Jasmine gone. Jasmine has left the building, baby. And I am not mad about it. Actually, let me give you a hand clap because, oh, everything about nothing good. All I said, Jasmine, give me a sign, because, baby, if you are gone, we are going to rock with you, sis. If you are gone, we will. I promise you, we going to rock with you. And if you ain't, just need to know that you should. So, anyway, he gets in his confessional talking about Dr. Pepper wanted them to have deeper conversations, but Jasmine is struggling for things to come up with. And so, back with them together, he answers. He says, well, the hardest thing I've had to forgive is when his friend took his own life, right? He actually said, he was mad and angry behind it. He thought about, how he left his mom and, family, friends. And he just said he thought it was a very selfish thing to do. And so he held a grudge for a while. But then he started thinking that maybe his friend was dealing with too much and he he himself had to get to a place that he was able to forgive him. And so even now, he said he still maintains a relationship with the guy's mom. So he throws the question back to her, like the hardest thing you've had to forgive, right? She said, oh, nothing is coming up for me. So in his confessional, he said she said that this is what she wants. She wants to have these conversations. I'm sharing. She's not. Like, I was thinking, well, what about when she was trying to share? And you were not. You were coming with these little, I don't want to say what I really think, but that old mess you was coming with, like, you ain't never kissed a girl. You ain't never had a threesome. And trying to, what about all that mess? Like, come on now. So anyway, he says, I'm going deep and I'm not getting nothing from her. He said it has him confused. Now, I ain't for the tit for tat of it all, y'all. But, hey, you getting a dose of your own medicine. That's all I got to say. Next question. What worries you the most at the moment? And this is the one she finally answered. She said, our marriage. Gina and Clint are now meeting with Dr. Peppers. Shout out to Isaac or whatever his name is today. Since he likes to go back and forth. But anyway, Clint brings up the fact that, that they're doing better or whatever, that they are growing. He says she would even come into his room at night sometimes with Hank in there, and then she'll just sit on the floor and they'll just talk. And here go Gina, keywords, Hank is in there. I said, okay, tell us how you really feel, Gina. So in other words, I took that to mean, like, if the dog wasn't in there, I wouldn't be in there either. So anyway, Dr. P said, I see you falling in love with the dog. He said, yeah, but it's just nice spending time in that way, in that capacity. So Gina said that they've been focusing on having the fun, right? The fun of it all. Dr. Pepper said, fun is fun, but we need to be going deep up in here. Like, forget the fun. Forget the fun, basically. Like, y'all ain't friends, just having a good time, right? So she asked Gina, how does she think past experiences with shame or vulnerability have impacted the marriage, right? She says growing up with just her and her mom, growing up with just her mom, it made it easy for her to be vulnerable with women, right? But she said it's difficult for her to do that when it comes to men. And I get that. I'm kind of the same way, but I did not, because I grew up in a one-parent household. I grew up in a two-parent household. But I think just past traumas, I can see that I'm easily vulnerable with women more so than I am when it comes to men. So I can understand that. So she just said she struggles to find a safe place when she's with a guy. She said that the honeymoon was triggering to her because it was focusing on the negative, and that she's been avoiding diving deep because the last time they did, i.e., the honeymoon, it didn't go too well. I don't know. For me, like, now this is just my thoughts and my feelings. I didn't feel like they went deep on the honeymoon. Them saying what they're usually attracted to, I don't feel like they was going deep. I don't. But hey, don't set yourself out. Anyway, Clint says he tries to be vulnerable as much as possible, right? He said he doesn't hold anything back. He's an open book. And He goes on to talk about how he was in a relationship with someone that had a false persona for like 3 years. Like, that's a long time to keep a mask up, baby. Like, at some point, you had to have been seeing cracks in that situation, Clint. Like, 3 years, you can't tell me in 3 years you didn't see the real of somebody. But anyway, he said that is why he wants to know Gina at her core. Like, he's quantified it as the crust, as he calls it. I don't get it, Clint. Because the crust to me is outside of things. Like, to me, that would be all the superficial things to her. Like, when I think about the crust of a bread, that's the outside. When I think about the crust of the planet Earth, that's the outside. Like, when I think about the crust in your eye, that's the outside. Like, the crust to me is always the outside. So to me, when you say you want to know the crust about her, to me, that's all the superficial things about her, the outside stuff. Like, delving deep would be like the jelly in the middle type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, to me, like, I don't get why he calls it the crust. But anyway, they named the whole episode after it, the crust. But anyway, she said, I feel like he's saying he wants to really know me to my core, but he's not initiating trying to find out who I am. Now, Gina girl, stop. Now stop, because we have all seen him asking you questions, trying to dig a little deep, and you keep giving him surface level answers. Like last week, what did he ask you? Like, what are your dreams, your hopes and passions outside of the salon? And you still came back with something about that salon, and you do because you want to help the ladies in the chair, and we get all that. But he was asking you outside of this salon, like, who is Gina? Like, you gotta have a identity outside of that as well. But anyway, so don't act like he ain't been trying, Gina. He has, you know what I'm saying? He's asked you different things, and you remain surface level, or you revert back to that salon of yours. So anyway, she goes on to say that she is also not one to just divulge information, open up on her own. So Dr. Pepper said, well, tell Clint what would make you feel good about talking to him about something important, right? And so she said it would have to be totally specific and initiated, like versus, oh, I was just growing up and I did blah, 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 And I'm thinking, well, he's done that also, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, she said it needs to be more like, when you grow up, your mom was what, versus just conversation. And so Clint said, if that's how she communicates, then ask me, you set the precedence, right? I said, see, he was being petty there, and then she responded petty, oh, set the precedent, so they going for that tit for tat again, like they did on their honeymoon when they got into that argument on the beach and she walked out. Both of them was going tit for tat. Or even how they came back with that when she told him she didn't like gingers, and he came back, well, I don't like I like my women muscular and athletic, or thicker, or whatever he said, I don't like my women thicker. I like them athletic. They were going tit for tat then, They both had that tit for tat spirit, I see. So Dr. Pepper was like, look here, not today. Not today. We are not having that today. She said, I'm not asking y'all to have open heart surgery. I'm just asking y'all to try. Meet each other where they are. Where you are. If this is what she needs, then help her out. Clint said it just doesn't feel organic to him, that it feels more like a Q&A session. And Clint, doggone it, that might be what it is, but that's what she needs. That's how she communicates best. You may communicate best differently. Y'all have to find a common ground, which means you have to give and take. There has to be bend in marriage. So Dr. Pepper reiterated that she says she is open to sharing. She just has a different style. So she goes on to say that if you both stick to the styles you're comfortable with, you won't find love. You've got to be able to be in a compromise in any relationships. Like, relationships are very fluid. They change from person to person, day to day, need to need, want to want. You know what I'm saying? So I think as we hear later on in the episode, Jasmine's mom says you gotta wake up every day and choose. You choose your marriage, choose to work on it, choose to fight for it, and that just means like being able to go with this flow. It's fluid. Your needs change daily. You know, even just as a person, that's how it is individually. So thinking about as it is as a couple and trying to make things work. Clint, you gotta be in. You gotta be in something. So we 22 days until decision day, right? So Nicole and Chris, they out there exercising and answering their fishbowl questions. So he asked the moments in my life when I felt the most amount of shame was what, right? And she said when her mom noticed the cigarette burn on her arm. She was shamed. She didn't want her mom to know the truth, so she lied and said she did it with her hair straightener, and it got pretty bad because she was picking at it. And so she said her mom knew she was lying, but she didn't press the situation because she knew Nicole was not going to tell her the truth. But Nicole said she still remembers that conversation. Like, she remembers where she was standing. She remembers where her mom was standing with the hat on. And it's funny how certain things like that stand out. Like, I have moments like that too where I remember everything to the T. And it's usually like pivotal moments. You know what I'm saying? And so anyway, Nicole was just saying like watching this back, her mom would now find out the truth. And she still has shame about that, knowing that she will now know the truth, but she's going to stand in her truth, right? So Chris said for him, it was when he threw a party at his place. It got out of hand, but his mom was there, like baking and cooking for the people at the party. Police showed up. It was underage drinking, so they threatened to take his mom to jail, but they eventually let everybody go with a warning. I just said, oh, that was smart. Even he said like he understand it because it was underage drinking. Let them go, so they drinking and driving. And I'm thinking the same darn thing. Like, what? But anyway, it happened. So Nicole asks, "What's your biggest insecurity and why?" Chris says stuff with my past relationships. And it has him questioning if he is a lovable person, a person worthy of love. Like, he didn't get why people didn't want to stay with him. So she ended up filling him with affirmations at that point. Like, Nicole is very good at that. And I like that she does that, but I also wish that in turn he would pour into her that same kind of way. Like, you also can learn from your partner. So that is something that he should start picking up on. And I'm going to say this because, like I said, we all feel loved in different ways. And I don't necessarily think that was anything she talked about or that the two of them talked about, like, as far as is filling you with affirmations one of your love languages. Because that was just something she started off top. You know what I'm saying? I think that was just her nature to do that. But in that he's feeling that. And so when people do things in their nature to do that, it's usually their love language. It's usually what speaks to them. So that's what they know to do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to take a ticket and think that being poured into like that, it will also be her love language. And so I hope he takes a little hint and start doing that to her as well. Like, start pouring into her and telling her she's beautiful and da 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 da. And, you know, so, but anyway, she did. She poured into him and, you know, just let him know that he is definitely worthy of love. So, next was, well, what worries you the most at the moment? So she said that she's worried that they are like in a happy bubble and that one day will burst. Oh, Nicole. I think She's been in such bad relationships, and now that this is going good, she's afraid it's gonna be taken away from her. Oh, sweetie. She said that part of her brain is telling her that she doesn't deserve to be this happy, and that one day she's going to do something to ruin it. She said she is afraid of leaning into the happiness. Baby, lean all the way into it, baby. You deserve it, Nicole. You really do. Even if things do not work out, live your best life right now. Take it all in. So, she did say that she realized she's projecting based on her past relationships. All right, y'all. Over with Eris. He's in their apartment. I don't know where Jasmine is, but her mom comes to visit, right? So Eris said he wants to talk to her. He wants to know how he could draw deeper conversations out of Jasmine. And I said, well, maybe you should have been trying to do that from the beginning and not have been such a F-boy with her and the things that you were wanting to talk to her about. So he's doing the Kirsten. Now that he's ready, he expects her to be ready. Okay. So we found out that Duchess has chewed some of his shoes up, but he says he was mad, but he got over it pretty quickly. So Mama asked him how he's feeling about the relationship in general, right? He said it's okay, but it could be better. She said, like what? He said, like she said, she wants deeper conversations, but she's not going deep in the conversations we have. Mama said, well, maybe you have to pull it out of her. I said, y'all, why it looked like her mama was tearing up when she was talking about her daughter? Did y'all notice that? Like her eyes were red? Like, I don't know. It's just something I noticed. Maybe it was nothing but, it was just something I noticed. But anyway, she did say that if it seems like Jasmine is holding back 9 times out of 10, she probably is. She said, that Jasmine is always looking out for others and will tend to neglect herself. So she tells her all the time that in order to teach someone what makes you happy, you have to know what makes you happy yourself. So Mama said, Mama brings up that Jasmine told her about them not having sex until after decision day, right? And she was like, but what if something happens? Because things change in a split second. And then there would have been a missed opportunity. Now, Mama, do not. Do not encourage that foolishness. Do that. So he replies that he has to have a connection which comes from shared interest, and he's trying to figure out what they have in common. I said, that is a doggone lie. Not when you was out here sleeping with people 2 weeks before you got married. What kind of connection you done built like that? And you around here talking about you having during orgies. What kind of connection were you building with the women and that was participating in that orgy with you? Like you full of bull, man. You know what I'm saying? So Mama said in her confessional that she likes the fact that he is open and communicating so that there is no misunderstanding as to how he feels. She said she thinks Jasmine is in her head, that they both overthink, but she wants to see things work out and that she will be praying for them. Oh, and that marriage is work. So you have to wake up every day talking about, thinking about, deciding about what I can do to make it better. Listen, Mama, I love you. I love you. I love you. But you got to know that Aries is not who he is putting on to be in front of you. You got to know it. You know what I'm saying? So please don't encourage Jasmine. Do not encourage that foolishness. I know you just want what's best for your daughter, and she has decided to do this process, and you want to see it succeed. You want that for your baby girl, and I understand that, but he is not the one. He is not the one. That's all I got. He's not the one. So then we see Gina and Clint, right? and they're doing the jar exercise. Do you avoid asking for help? Gina said yes, she does. She said growing up with a single mom, she was forced into independence, and so it's hard for her to ask for help. And Clint said he's the same way, but he has no problems asking for help. So the next question was, one thing I need to let go of from my childhood is what? And Gina said fear of rejection and abandonment, which stemmed from her parents being divorced at a young age. And then with her dad not even being around at all. So Clint said he could kind of relate. He said his dad wasn't there majority of time and that he sacrificed time to be able to work to provide for his family. So Gina then mentions how she didn't realize how much all of that affected her relationships, right? Um Clint said that he's learned a lot from their Q&A session. So next question was, what's your biggest insecurity and why, right? So she says she's a workaholic because she doesn't feel like she's ever doing a good enough job. And I can get that. When she said that, that really resonated with me because I'm so type A. And when I do get to work, it's the same kind of thing. I'm worried about making sure I complete all tasks, that all my patients are cared for, that I'm not leaving anything behind for the next nurse. Like, I totally understood that. Like, sometimes I even get anxiety towards the end of the shift because I'm feeling like, have I done enough? Have I missed something? Am I leaving something behind? So when she said that, that resonated with me because that is something that, like, that's a goal that I'm working on now personally in my life. So yeah. But anyways, he went on to say that he's insecure about not fulfilling the things he wants in life, like having a successful marriage, having a family with children. So Gina said, it's good to know that they're on the same page because, like, she wants that too, family, children, and so yeah, she just said it's good to know that they're on the same page with what they want out of life. So the next question was, the thing I've waited to tell you until we've been together longer is, and he says that I have legally changed Hank's name, and they have a good old kiki about that. He really does like that dog. And the thing is, I don't think they're gonna last. I don't think they're gonna make it. But the thing is, I feel like they have what it takes to make it. But they're gonna get in their own way. They're going to get in their own way. And I think it's going to be more so Gina that does than Clint. But they both have that tit for tat spirit, and that's also gonna hurt them in the long run from being together. So anyway, the last thing we see is Shaquille and Kirsten. Okay, so y'all, Kirsten is coming home and she walks into the apartment with Shaquille, who has surprised her with this activity for the two of them, body painting. I was like, okay, how's this gonna go down? But Kirsten was receptive to it, baby. She said, let me go change it to something more comfortable, right? So she comes out in her little white two-piece. And so he was just basically like, Kirsten wants him to take the lead on being more intimate. So he said he's putting that behind to the test. You know what I'm saying? He wants to see if she trusts him enough to make a masterpiece out of her body. I said, baby, that thing is ready. That thing is ready. She is thanging. And I said, that body is already a masterpiece, Shaquille. So she oh, yeah, did y'all know? Okay, this might be too much detail. But I just be looking at everything. Kirsten got her little nipples pierced. Did y'all notice that? It's just an observation. Nothing to talk about. Go on, boo, because there was a time in my point there was a point in my life where I was down for the piercings of it all too. From head to toe. Like, that was my thing, piercings and tattoos. But anyway, so Shaquille is painting her, right? And he just slapping that paint up on that body. I'm like, Shaquille, can you be a little more sensual with it? You know what I'm saying? But baby, she is loving it. She says she enjoys watching him paint her baby. So then he comes over with some strawberries and whipped cream, baby. He was like, "You ready?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm ready." He said, "You sure you ready?" "Yeah, I'm ready." So he squirts that whipped cream in her mouth. He pop a strawberry in his, and he goes in for the kill. I said, "Okay, Shaquille, way to take charge. I'm feeling that energy." I ain't gonna lie though, the kids did look a little awkward, but about damn time, about damn time. Talking about it would definitely Kirsten gonna say Kirsten goes get in a confessional, y'all, talking about consummating the marriage. And I said, no, she talking about possibly consummating the marriage, talking about it would definitely help the intimacy and chemistry grow. She said she doesn't know if it will happen tonight, but if it did, only the two of them would ever know about it. I said, "Alrighty then, well, go ahead, honey. Go on, make it happen. Go on, set yourself off." Maybe I don't think it happened, but it might. We do see in the preview at some point Shaquille telling the group that they did eventually consummate their marriage, so it might have went down that night. Sure, Kirsten gone trying to try that thing out. Okay, boo, get your kiss and some cookie in the same night. Anyway, y'all, that was how the episode ended. Y'all, let's get in these comments and talk about this here thing, because I truly was shocked at Kirsten. I was not expecting it at all. But baby, he was like, "You ready? Yeah. You ready? Yeah. You sure you ready? Yeah." He tried it though. He tried to be a little sexy with it. He tried it. But anyway, y'all, that's all I got. I'm so glad to chat with y'all, and I can't wait until the next video. Until next time, guys, I'll pray for you. Y'all continue to pray for me, and what? Bye.